Hey everybody, welcome back live at Drew's house, Joppa Afternoon Drive. Hope you're all doing well out there. Oh, it's that time of the month, everybody, our appearance. We've been doing it like once a month, and I love it. It's a good little groove I've gotten into with the man from the firehouse down the street, John Moynihan. How are you, my friend?
I'm great, Drew. How are you doing today?
Good. Welcome back. Did you miss us?
Thank you. Always.
Yeah.
I feel like it's been forever, but not long enough.
Yes. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, we do talk in between this too, just so you people
We
know.
do. We do. Usually, the day before.
I prefer to keep everything on the air. I'm wearing a concert shirt. Gavin Morangi gave me a shirt.
Yeah.
Who's in our studio. That's why I'm like turning this into a wardrobe.
I enjoy it. I have it on good authority that there's a vintage MTV under there.
There is. Yep. There's an MTV tank top actually.
Here we go.
Let's see. Can we show it? That looks something like that. Yeah.
Money for nothing.
MTV. The kids. They used to play music.
MTV.
Oh, look at that.
I want my MTV.
We could do a show where we just do things like that.
Probably.
Like,
I bet we could. We could do an entire show of just like picking up on little musical
Video
cues.
killed the radio star.
Video killed the radio star.
Bop.
It
It took two till we got there.
I'm surprised it took that long.
Yeah. You guys still.
Hey, you're right here in the morning.
I actually thought you were doing Yellow Ledbetter for a second.
Oh, no, that's hey, the boxer or the mango. All right.
That's fantastic. And there's a little intro, John Moynihan.
Here we go.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for having me on.
Pretty much sums up most of the shows. Let's get right to it because last time I think we took 22 minutes to get to what was actually happening with you guys over there at the firehouse. So what's going on? It's a big time of year.
Yeah, right now we got In the Heights going on there. For those of you who know Hamilton or know Lin-Manuel Miranda, this is what he did before Hamilton. It's a fantastic show. We have a wonderful, wonderful cast coming from all over the place to be in the show. Takes place in Washington Heights. There's a lot of fantastic culture that's a part of it, and man, we're just so happy to be able to do that up here on the North Shore and have folks coming from all around coming to see it.
Awesome, man. I've had it's funny. I just saw you overlap with some people who play music here in our little studio, and people love playing that room.
It's a nice room.
They love it.
I mean, the acoustics are beautiful. You really can't, you can't beat it. I
think somebody fired a drummer after your show.
Well, I mean, that is one of the problems. It is also a small room.
Yeah. So
if you have someone who's unable to really, play with dynamics or things like that, they can 100% overpower everybody else. Within the Heights, the horns are live on stage, and there's only so much you can do in terms of miking or not miking horns in terms of their overall volume. So we ended up having to maneuver them around so they were in a spot where they're not blasting right out in front of your face. Even with their mics off, the amplification off. Still, I love a good brass sound. I love a good, all of that. But if you're unable to hear what the actors are saying over it, it can be a challenge.
Yeah, no doubt. Speaking of not weird, but unique stage setups, were you working? You used to do the volunteering over at Prescott.
I used to work over at Prescott Park.
Yeah, you used to work at the.
Before I was down here at the firehouse.
What show was it? Were you there when the Wild Rivers played there? I
don't think I was. I think
you
that
left
was
right
after.
before. I think
it was right before. I know because I was there when Amos Lee was there.
So I saw you at Amos Lee that night, and then I think the next summer maybe was Wild Rivers, and you had probably left in between there or something.
Yeah.
But I was thinking Wild Rivers was playing on a. Oh man, it was some wild stage.
Probably
like a jungle, like kids.
I think what it may have been.
And they especially the lead singer, not like a super serious guy, but he's kind of serious.
Yeah.
And I swear I caught him come out at one point and go.
I know, right? That's part of it. I mean, it's part of one of the beautiful and cool things of what sort of happens, especially at Prescott Park, and then also when some of the folks play here. Yeah, I know.
I forgot I was on radio for a second. He looked behind him.
But there's like Judy Collins played on the Pippin set.
Yeah,
which was an interesting amazing. Sort of thing. Gavin, who you had was played on our Rock of Ages set. set. Now, for Rock of Ages it was all like built up platforms, so there wasn't much space in front of the stage, and his drummer was center.
Yes,
and there's probably about 8 feet of space from where the stairs from center and the front of the stage was. So Gavin was in front of the drummer, who was like tied up against this this set of stairs. So
and he loved it.
He loved it. No, he did not. But he also, he wasn't doing himself any favors with the way that he was. I'm pretty sure he was trying to see if he could actually get the drumstick through the snare head.
Oh, gotcha.
I think there was legitimate, intent behind that.
I understand. Okay. Yeah. Well, that's another adventure at the firehouse. I love it.
Right. So one of the first shows that I had when I got here was we had Howie Day. Howie Day come, and he lives in New York City. We were doing Avenue Q at the time.
Collide.
That's right.
Right. Yeah.
This is a big one. That was his big one.
Yeah, Drew Collide.
Yeah. He's over it too.
Nice.
But we were doing Avenue Q, which takes place in New York City. So as I'm walking, I'm like, "Oh, Howie, this looks just like the city, right?" He's like, "Yeah, okay." It didn't. I mean, it's a cartoon.
Yes.
It has its own thing.
He didn't find that funny, did he?
He didn't find it as humorous as I did.
Yeah.
But one of my favorite stories about an artist having to come out and be on stage in front of a set. Not one of our sets. It was when I was back when I was up in Prescott Park, and we had Richard Thompson come, and he came 2 years in a row. Or maybe there was a year in between. Either way, he came. The first year he came solo by himself, and the next year he brought the band. And he was talking about why he brought the band. He said, because I told them that I was doing this show in front of a chocolate factory set, and they didn't believe me, so I had to bring them so they could come out and walk out on the set with me and see that I wasn't going crazy.
So that seems like a better sense of humor. They all
yes, indeed.
Oh man, that's funny. There are a lot of stories like that. I'm trying to think of which ones I could tell. Yeah, we'll save some of those. Since we're starting with the Gavin theme, so it actually starts with me wearing his T-shirt. I've started doing this, by the way. People are giving me T-shirts.
Oh, all right.
Which they just kind of leave here. But you know what I notice? If it's hot in here, I just want to go to a T-shirt. And look, Gavin left me one.
There we go.
So yeah,
so what you're saying is, you're subtly hinting that it's time for me to give you some firehouse gear?
No. I don't need any firehouse gear. What I was going to get into...
Jeez. All right, Drew. Never mind. I didn't want to give you any anyway. Good.
I would love firehouse gear. I don't want you to feel obligated. This is not what I want. I don't want to be begging for gear. Is the thing.
God, this guy.
Oh my God! If you don't bring a shirt, he doesn't let you on the show.
Seriously.
This is a new. But I do. I was happy to have
free tickets next. Good grief.
I was happy to have the shirt. Okay? But Gavin, I had said, do you know OAR? It came up in conversation. The band OAR, Mark Roberge, who I think might just be, I've met him quite a few times, interviewed him a few times, he might just be the sweetest man in rock and roll.
Really?
He's unbelievably nice.
Okay.
He cares about things. I met him the other night interviewed him at Whale Aid.
Oh, nice.
He's there saving the whales.
Yeah.
And you know what? He's not
Was
just...
Guster there? I feel like it's something they
they were not there. I do think they've done it before. I think they're part of that family.
That feels
like guy from Montjoy was there.
Okay.
Revivalists.
No, I love the Revivalists. They're so good. Speaking of Guster, how about them playing Porch Fest, huh?
Yeah, but did you see the scandal on this now?
No.
Well, because I think it's great. It's fun. Great stuff. People there, and I don't know how big it is. I just caught on to this though. I was like, I didn't see. I thought it was all just great.
Yeah.
Rainbows and flower, whatever that expression
Rainbows
is. Just
and butterflies.
Butterflies. Thank you.
Yeah, sometimes unicorns.
Yes, it's all great. I thought it was just a great thing they did. But there's at least a pocket. It might be bigger of people that said, why did they have to do that? They took it away from all those other smaller artists too, and then a million Guster fans flood in, and nobody pays attention, and just took over the whole thing. Yada yada yada.
Man,
can't make everybody happy. I think that's what we're
cannot
at.
make everyone happy, and especially with just the notoriety they brought to. I mean, not that Porch Fest necessarily needed it, because they always do very well.
That's a good one.
Yeah, but I mean, but Guster's local.
Yeah.
They're a local thing. So being able to, I think, to do something like that, I mean, I would think that they probably also encouraged folks to go.
I think so.
To go see some of the other bands, because at one point they were that band.
They were.
So.
And they haven't really strayed from that. They don't.
No.
You know those bands that are like, in your heart, they could be bigger.
Yeah.
If they did some things. I think we have some mutual bands that we follow that we know that could be the case. Just they choose not to.
Right.
They know it's not about the fame for them. They'd rather.
Right.
So I think they're kind of one of those bands. But yeah, they packed the Porch Fest, boy.
No, I'm sure.
I saw one of the comments underneath said, "Come on now, guys! Like nobody who was at Porch Fest playing did not get to play because
Right.
of,
Right, and also like I doubt the musicians were necessarily complaining about it too, because again, it just brings the notoriety of what they're doing. So now next year they'll be like, oh, maybe I missed so and so.
Yeah. Well, John Bon Jovi is going to do it next year.
You shut your mouth. Now you're trying to stir up the controversy and
Although he's not even singing these days, is he? Didn't he have a hurt voice?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like they all do now.
Why? Because the two New Jersey guys got struggling voice-wise at the same time.
They're both having a hard time.
Bruce is fine. Okay, talked to him the other day. He's gonna be back on tour. They replaced those dates.
Did he? You talked to him?
I
What did he say? What did he say?
You ever seen? Oh God. Okay. Do you know my thing with Bruce though? I do mention him all the time. I love Bruce.
Yeah.
His biggest album I can't
You're
stand.
sick of hearing the hits.
I hate Glory Days.
You don't want to hit You don't want to hear the hits.
It's my bathroom
anymore.
break song.
Oh, okay. Good to know.
I don't need to hear Glory Days ever again. I don't need to hear Hungry Heart. Oh, and you know what? Sure, Hungry Heart. It's so good. Let's let the crowd sing the first verse, and then I won't even move on to the second. I'll just sing the first verse again. Come on.
It's because he needs to sing it so he can remember what the second verse is.
It's got a teleprompter.
Well, yeah, no, I mean that's, and I actually sometimes wonder with some of these bands. You and I talk about this with Dave Matthews all the time. Like a lot of times when I go, if he has a new album, I'm not always as into it. But I can also understand from like their point of view.
Yeah.
Like how many times in a row.
Yeah.
Like how many, like if they're doing like a 60-day tour over the summer or something like that, how many times can you do the same 18 songs?
No doubt.
Right? Because there are bands that will just do that. Like that's just like so before Maroon 5 blew up, they came to UNH and that's all they did. They did the entire Songs About Jane album cover to cover.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
In order? Like there's
in order.
Oh wow.
In order. It was like a 60 minute concert. I mean, it was fine. Thankfully, Adam left his shirt on, which he did not do for the Super Bowl.
Yeah. I thought that was weird at the Super Bowl.
It was very odd.
It felt that when I think of weaker Super Bowl performances.
Yeah.
That one jumps out at me.
Well, and it's like so funny because he got nothing for that. It was like, oh, he's so dragged up. Look at him. And then poor Janet Jackson 20 years ago.
Yeah. Oh, you want to go down this road? You want to go?
We don't
cancel culture. Yeah.
Go down. No, certainly not. That's not where I'm going. Anyway, In the Heights.
John Moynihan attacks Maroon 5. Adam Levine.
But anyway, yeah. So, but speaking about culture and speaking about doing things that folks are, not necessarily, they haven't necessarily seen or recognized, on a regular basis. Mm-hmm. I think one of the most important things about art, one of the most important things about what we do at the Firehouse is engaging people in conversations on things they may not necessarily think to talk about, or may not necessarily think to understand, or come see a show that they wouldn't have necessarily thought about seeing because it's not necessarily their cup of tea. But I think one of the things that we've worked really hard on doing, and again, don't get me wrong, I in no way believe that everything we do is something everybody wants to see. Mm-hmm. I think part of what we part of our mission is to do things that will either make people feel uncomfortable, make them think, because that's the only way that we can really grow. So like in May we did Eurydice, which is a straight show. It's the non-musical version of Hadestown for those of you who know musicals, and Naeus Mitchell. Telling it from a different point of view, a more feminist angle on it, and the folks that came to see it really enjoyed it. The folks that didn't come to see it don't know what they're missing. And then we're doing something like In the Heights, which is a really important story to a culture that is not necessarily represented in Newburyport on a regular basis, and it's really exciting. It's really exciting to see not only the cast that is coming up to do it, but also the audience members that are coming out to see it. We worked with the folks over the Creative Collective in Salem to get a Latin artist to come in and do the gallery right now. So the art show that's in there is his name is Ramon Santiago, and it just like it has the vibrancy and the colors of what you would expect to see up in Washington Heights in New York City, and then you walk upstairs and you're hit in the face from the moment the show starts to the end of this this lively and exciting music and a completely different feel from Into the Woods that we're doing in August, or the producers or anything like that. It's just something that's completely different, completely unique, and so incredibly important to the culture that it represents. Because let's be honest, like there are not very many shows that are either women driven or driven by people of color that are that are actually have roles of substance, as opposed to the joke, the minor character that's there for the laugh.
Sure.
So.
And who's it that came in last year too? You tried to have a show that was catered towards I hate using the word elderly because it's actually, but it's older people.
Judy.
But
Judy Collins.
No. Who
was
was the guy with the? It was a guy came in here. Oh my God, it's just coming back to me. I wasn't planning on talking about this. That's why I can't remember it. But the guy came in and he was talking about.
Alan Haley, we did the
Thank you.
the real life stories. We did it again this year.
And that was he was saying how there's no parts for people my age and older. Like it's hard to find parts, and I thought that was a great thing too.
Yeah, because I mean, everybody, for the most part, everybody needs some sort of outlet. In order to for some sort of either whether it's an artistic outlet, whether it's a I don't know. Everyone needs something to whether they want to run or do exercise like that. But everybody needs something, and if we're able to engage communities and engage demographics from a wide variety, honoring the audiences that made us who we are, and kept the Firehouse running for 30 plus years, while also working towards engaging the newer audiences, because they're the ones who are going to keep us going for the next 30. So I mean, I think that trying to find a mix of programming that really spans generations and spans demographics is important. It's challenging, but it's really, really important, because especially in a post-COVID environment, arts and culture, the industry as a whole is still struggling, struggling to recover from it all. So we need to be thinking 5-10 years down the line, as opposed to 5-10 minutes.
I like that
in terms of what we're doing.
Well said.
Thank you.
Judy Collins. I know you had Judy Collins.
Listen, I don't know.
I didn't know who you were talking about.
That was a big one. She played our grand piano.
It was great, huh? You can always say.
Listen, I can always say I had Judy Collins come to my 191-seat theater, a size that she hasn't played in years, and can always say that even at 84 years old, hearing her sing "Send in the Clowns" still gets you. Yeah, it really does. No doubt. It's such a great song.
I was thinking of probably a couple months before that, we went over to the Will Dailey show, and he does that whole thing with the. Did you do that?
The $10 song.
The $10 song. Yeah, and that was all inspired by that, which I probably shouldn't give too much away. Oh yeah, that's right. He was the Joni Mitchell. That's right. Yeah. That's right. Oh, what song was that? I'm trying to remember. Mind blanking today. God, this is why I should stay more structured. Stay on task, Drew. Will you? Stay on task.
What's the point? It's live radio.
That's
baby.
true. This is more fun. That's right. He was Judy Collins, though. Right. Will was great that night with you guys too.
He was. Yeah, he was. And he always puts on a good show.
Jay Pizarros, I remember too. He came in, and I think that I'm kind of going in a row of the shows I've recently seen at the Firehouse. You guys you're putting out a lot of different kinds of shows, which I like.
Trying to. Don't forget about our pal Marty.
Marty Sexton.
Oh yeah.
A double bill.
A double bill. Yeah. 2 shows on a Thursday night in December.
Very. I didn't see I didn't go to the early session. I just went to the later session. Right. But I did my Marty research.
Yeah.
And I think he played 2 completely different shows.
He did. He absolutely did.
It's outstanding.
Yeah.
I love that. Saw Mick Jagger the other night, Gillette Stadium.
So you still got the moves?
Oh my God. I could not stop.
Got the moves of Jagger.
Yeah, apparently not a Stone song.
No,
funny.
that's we're back to Maroon 5.
Yeah, oh, that's Maroon 5, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's right. Wow, what a weird circle there.
I know, huh?
Who needs to stay on task when you can do that?
Yeah. Judy Collins has a story about that. Not about, well, kind of.
Oh, you can say it.
Sure. So she tells the story about smoking cigarettes, and how like one of her friends was trying to smoke cigarettes, was trying to quit smoking cigarettes. So he went to the doctor, and the doctor said, every time, do you want to try and quit smoking cigarettes? She's like, nah, kind of, no, not really. He goes, well, just so you know, every time you smoke a cigarette and every year you take off your life goes to Keith Richards.
That is good. That is fantastic. Oh man, and they were awesome, John. I will tell you, like I'm a Stones fan, like anybody,
Yeah,
great rock band. But I went there and I couldn't from the beginning of the show. I'm just Mick is electric. He's he's everywhere. He's 80.
I know.
I can't get that out of my head. Age is not a thing to me. I don't really care. Unless you're like 80 and doing what he's doing. Right. It's amazing.
They've been touring nonstop for like 55 years, almost 60 years, something like that.
And in that world where you're playing a giant stadium like that, you get kind of the main three Stones, and you get but then you get some powerhouse musicians behind them. I kind of figured the powerhouse musicians might be carrying a lot of it.
Yeah.
Not so like they are, but it's all live, man. There's no.
Right.
Keith Richards is not playing any tracks or anything.
No.
The mistakes, and I mean this in a good way, the mistakes are there, and they recover from them and go. Like, it's like a live show. It's awesome.
Yeah, it is. Like, the fact that they're doing it at that age.
Yeah.
I think I've talked about this before, that I feel like it's what keeps them young.
Yes.
If they stop performing, things would change so drastically and so quickly for them.
Agree.
So I think that's part of why. But the fact that they're still selling out, 60,000 tickets.
As packed as I've ever seen Gillette.
Yeah.
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 Wild.
Yeah, I mean, I saw Dave there 25 years ago.
See, I missed that when he was
played
playing
with Santana.
Foxborough. Oh.
Yeah.
That was so that was a split bill, right? And Dave was early, Santana was second. Or
No, Santana was the opener.
Yeah.
If you will.
Yeah.
For Dave.
I bet knowing what I know from the Dave fandom that I have, I bet Dave was uncomfortable with that.
You think so?
I don't know. Well, he was so big then too.
He was so big. I mean, that was right after Under the Table. Like he was at his not Under the Table, before the Crowded Streets. Sorry. See, he was at his prime.
I've had this conversation with you because I jumped onto the Dave Matthews, and I've been a diehard for 20 years, but he was already huge when I jumped on.
Yeah.
He was, my cousins that are 5-6 years older than me are like, oh yeah, I've been following him for.
Yeah.
So I was in that way not late to the game. I just happened to be a little younger than my cousins, but it's. He's been big for so long. It's kind of a.
Yeah, I mean, I did too. Like my sisters were into them.
Yeah, you told me that. Yeah.
As I really didn't get into them probably until late high school.
Yeah.
Like again, my sister at one point asked me like, "What song is this from? What I want is what I've not got. What I need is all around me." And I'm like, "Oh, that's from Best What's Around." She goes, "No, Jimmy thing." Of course, I'm 12 years old. I'm like, what does that even mean?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously I know now, but at that point, I was like, what is it? What is a Jimmy thing?
A friend of mine makes the Dave Matthews bracelets.
Yeah.
And we give them away in Guildford. That's coming up, the Guildford trip. Coming this year,
right.
You're going to go do a Guildford show?
I feel like I talked to my wife about it. I can't remember if we're going to. You
were going to go last year.
I was.
I think you called me that day and said, by the way, not going to get up.
No, that was when we were going to go to Portland.
Oh, that was for Dispatch.
That's for Dispatch.
Yeah.
That's right. That's the Portland.
No, that one you were really close to going to. I think you were going to do the day or two, but maybe it was the degrees of bail. Maybe that was a lower bail.
All right, getting called out by Drew.
Come do the Guildford with us. We have fun in Guildford.
Yeah. No, that would be one.
Not a secret anymore, though. It's got like national recognition now of like.
Now there's the Bank of New Hampshire Pavilion and Live Nation runs it.
But it's not. It's mostly. I do think it's mostly word of mouth though. Like I'm seeing on like the fan sites of like, everybody's raving about this. Now we know why Dave does 2 nights in Guildford, New Hampshire. And,
right.
On Tuesday and Wednesday.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But yeah.
I took the week off.
Where was I going to go with that? I was going to say something about it. Well, yeah. I mean,
sometimes it's Jimmy thing.
I mean, one of the things that I always loved about Dave, especially when like the live albums, when he was at like his heyday.
Yeah.
he would just make up the words to the song.
Yeah. I think that's still happening.
True. One of the things I actually do miss about him as he's gotten a little bit older is he doesn't do the the same. He doesn't dance as much as he used to.
Yeah.
And he also doesn't do the stuff that he used to do.
It's still there. We'll come over from time to time.
It depends on how he's feeling. I feel like.
Yeah.
He's got to be in the right group for it.
Yeah.
Oh, I was talking about that because my wife and I are going to see like the Used. Like we're going on like a full emo tour this summer, and we're trying to see if we can sneak into something corporate and Roadrunner in August.
Nice.
Yeah.
Somebody just told me Jason Isbell's there next week. Roadrunner, because he's opening for Zach Bryan.
Really?
At Gillette.
Oh, okay.
But I didn't realize he was playing Roadrunner before. Yeah. I saw Isbell at Roadrunner last year. It was fantastic.
Was it with the band? Was it with the 400 unit?
It was with the 400 unit, except like I didn't know his new album.
Yep.
Here now I'm sounding like you with the Dave story here. But I know all his old stuff.
Yep.
But he was one of my favorite artists, so I was gonna go, and I'm there, and I'm like, I think that's most of the new album we played tonight because I didn't know anything until the end, which is cool. He still rocks the place. He's great.
Yeah.
But
I've never seen him live.
Oh yeah,
never seen him live.
He's like probably what you would imagine. It's even better when it comes to live. But he's just like a good club rock band that walks on stage, nothing fancy.
Yep.
Count it off and go.
Nice.
And I loved that. It was a nice feeling coming out of it. It was the first time I had kind of seen that coming out of COVID, I think.
Yeah.
And I was like, ooh, that feels good in this kind of small room.
Yeah.
You know? So.
Small room. It's about 1,400 seats.
Yeah, well, I just went to see the Stones at Gillette. Okay,
oh, that's fair. That's fair. That's like what's his name? Ed Sheeran doing his small venue tour and playing the Wang.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, the 5,000 seat. Yeah. That's my small venue.
Exactly. Well, I saw him at Boston Calling the other night.
Oh yeah.
I've always been like a fan.
Yeah.
Like not a crazy fan, but like I like his stuff. He's good.
Yeah.
He completely won me over.
Oh yeah. So he's great. So again, going back to Howie Day, he took what Howie Day did back in like the late '90s and early 2000s and took it to an entirely new level with the looping and playing over himself and stuff like that.
Incredibly aware too. Like seems like a good guy in that. Like they had the Boston Calling had the sign language people out.
Yep.
And made sure to like go out of his way to shout them out, get them applause, which I would care. It seems like a nice gesture, it's very nice. Yeah. And he was just really good about all that stuff. But I don't know, he seemed very likable.
Well, it's also really cool. So the way a lot of the times those sign language interpreters work, is that like the artist will give them their set list ahead of time, so that they can practice. So they're not doing it live, because otherwise things can be confused or things can be missed.
Yeah.
So it's actually a really it's more involved than folks would think.
Yeah, I bet.
In terms of how it all goes, but the fact that one, the Boston Calling was doing it, and then that he was shouting them out is important. Accessibility is important.
Rolling Stones had him.
Nice.
And they were set up not at the stage, actually. They were in the middle, like at the 50-yard line.
Yep. And
kind of doing it that way, which was a first for me to see that. I thought that was cool.
That was cool.
I've actually been thinking a lot about that. I think that's a really cool thing to add to concerts.
Yeah.
We need to keep progressing, right?
Yeah, we're going to be doing it for Into the Woods. We're going to have a couple of nights where we'll have sign language interpreters.
Very nice.
We'll invite the the deaf community to come in and see the show.
It's an awesome thing.
Yeah.
Remind me of that night. We'll do a thing on that. Are they easy to find, sign language? I feel like is that a profession that's like pretty full, or?
Yeah, I mean, because everybody
it's such a needed thing.
Yeah. Whether it's whether you're something that you're seeing on TV, or whether it's like you're seeing more music and more theatrical venues are doing it on a more regular basis. So I mean, it's an occupation that probably should be more visible than it is.
And they should have screens and everything.
Yeah, well, but I mean, even just from the accessibility standpoint, and making sure that everybody is feeling, they're not feeling othered and they're not feeling left out. Something, because from like TVs we have closed captioning, but it's a very different experience from reading something versus watching somebody, and seeing their emotion, because you can see so much more from that human to human contact than you can just by reading the screen.
And a lot of them, they put their heart into it. They're dancing. And actually, I saw some rapper the other night who I don't think was given the set list earlier. And I think he just thought there was somebody on his stage dancing.
Nice.
And he went up and started dancing, and the woman's looking at him like, this is not sign language you're doing.
This is not what we're supposed to be doing here.
Yes. But it's nice to see you. Continue on with your show, please. I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah.
But all right, this is always fun. John Moynihan back in the house for his monthly appearance here. June.
Yes, June. We got In the Heights through June 23rd, and then we have Frida World Music. So it's World Music. Italian brothers came over here as kids and playing music, and then two Newburyport local residents. One who actually works at the firehouse as our box office manager, Ryan, our front house manager, Ryan Murray, and her brother are also in the band with them. They've been to Carnegie Hall. They went to Italy. They were about to really about to pop in the world music stage before COVID.
Nice.
And then we have Summer Comedy Night on July 5th with Tony V's headlining that. We have a couple of education programs. Our Star Tots program, which is sold out. Then we have our main stage review program for folks 7 to 13. There still has a few spots left. Then we have Haley Reardon coming at the end of July. Being Petty, our pals Butcher Baglio and Estes are coming back. And then we go into the Woods. Raylan Baxter will be here in mid-August. We've just got a lot going on. There's always something going on.
Tickets and Instagram stuff on
tickets. Yes, visit our visit firehouse.org to find out about all of the great shows we have coming up. You can follow us on Instagram at Firehouse Center. We have Facebook. One of the other things that we do during the summer is also the Newburyport Arts and Culture Shanties, and every Friday through Sunday they have the Arts Market over at the pop-up park, which is in between the Firehouse and the Black Cow.
Okay.
Right there. So that's there's just always something arts and culture related going on.
Can you give me a little sneak peek of your what's the thing you have to read before every show? I always love it when you do that. Give me like a 10 seconds.
My preacher speech. I don't read that anymore, Drew. It's all memorized.
I know, that's what I mean. Yeah, that's also impressive. He gains momentum. There's a rhythm to it.
So thank you all so much for coming out and joining us on our Institution for Savings main stage of the Eric Kelly Theater. Who's ready for Drew Moholland? Woo!
John Moynihan from the Firehouse Performing Center for the Arts. It is a fantastic place, and go get your tickets. There's so many great shows.
Go get your tickets, firehouse.org.
Thank you to our team, Maeve, Sarah, Ryan, Maya. They're all here today. It's been fun. It's good to see you guys. And John, always a pleasure to see you.
Pleasure's all yours. Mine.
Turn the car around.
Always. How many times did I break your light shine?
Live at Drew's house. We'll see you next time, everybody. Peace.
Always turn the car around.